Hi there, Jordan here from Lexica. Hey, have you ever wondered, are there some evidence-based ways to get better at a new language? Well, I was doing some research in the July 2019 edition of the BPS Research Digest, and it came up with a few really cool ways to improve and accelerate learning a language. And this can be applied to those who are teaching languages as well. So the first one is involves passive listening. Have you ever heard of people who have, put on language tapes or language recordings in the background as they're doing other tasks, or maybe they've um, listened to language tapes at a very low volume all night as they sleep, hoping that in this way the language would kind of like immerse the brain uh, passively. Well, that may not be the best way to learn a language. There is some truth in it. In fact, learning a new language involves hearing distinct speech sounds that may be totally different than what you're accustomed to in your native tongue. Of course, to actually learn vocabulary, you have to know the meaning of each new word you learn and then use it many, many times. But still, it's important for your brain to be regularly exposed to the target language and the sounds of the target language. This accelerates the brain's auditory and motor cortex to help separate and duplicate the sounds of the target language. For example, when you first start learning a language, perhaps when you hear other people speak it, it all sounds like one jumbled mass of words all put together, as if there's no separation between the words. For example, let's listen to someone speaking Mandarin and see if you can readily and easily distinguish between the different words, or if it all sounds kind of like jumbled together.
刚刚说了，我老家在东北，大家说的是东北话，其实只是普通话，但是有一些个别的词可能会不一样。比如说，我曾经在网上看到过一个，或者我觉得东北人应该会懂得比较搞笑的。
So the challenge is to get the brain to be able to speed up to the point where it can separate when one word begins and when it ends. Later on, you can acquire meaning to those words. Notice in this example, during one of our 5-day TESOL certification courses, we practiced the method passive exposure. And notice how Sandra, our teacher, is demonstrating the method with 3 other students. And they are listening to what she's saying, and on the screen you see all of the words jumbled together, which later on they'll have to try to separate.
Eins, zwei, drei, vier, fünf, sechs, sieben, acht, neun, zehn.
So back to our discussion of passive listening. Have your students passively listen to about 5 to 10 minutes of the new vocabulary that you'll be teaching them. This can be done when the class begins, just having them listen to the vocabulary without doing anything else. And then perhaps you could have an exercise where they have to try to separate the words, even though they don't know the meaning of them. That's okay. Or it can be done at the end of the class as a review. And at this time, they'll have learned the words, the meaning of the words, and they'll be able to recognize the distinction between the separate words. Check out this case study that proves that this type of exercise really does work to help to submerge the brain in the target language, even before meaning is associated with the words. Okay, that's all for now about passive listening or passive exposure. We'll see you next time.